What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with a quick video. I thought today we'd talk about bootlegs. Bootleg action figures, especially the Star Wars line, are very popular. There's a lot of different bootlegs out there. Just off the top of my head, I can think of Mexican bootlegs, Hungarian bootlegs, Russian. Let's see, we got Turkish bootlegs. My mind is drawing a blank, but I mean, Bulgarian. There's all kinds of different bootlegs out there, but essentially they are not licensed by Lucasfilms to be made. Polish bootlegs is another one. They're very popular. You see a lot of Polish bootlegs out there that have been graded. I don't have a huge bootleg collection. I've got these two here, which I'll show you in a little while, but I also do have a lot of Mexican bootlegs in a box that I thought about sending in for grading with CAS. AFA does not grade Mexican bootlegs for whatever reason. I think because it's just so difficult to verify what they are, when they were made, who made them, that AFA has kind of given up doing any kind of bootleg product. The only bootlegs that I know of that they grade are the Turkish bootlegs, the Uzays, just given the value of them. But I take that back. I did see a Hungarian bootleg Chewbacca that was an AFA graded figure. It might have been UKG though. But anyway, in general though, they tend to shy away from bootlegs. For those of you that do have bootlegs out there, I would recommend sending those instead to CAS, Collectors Archive Services. They're based in Florida, and these are two examples here in front of you. But anyway, I've got maybe 13 to 15 Mexican bootlegs I've collected over the years. And I was thinking about sending those in at some point. I don't know whenever I get the time and money. But, CAS apparently does have some folks on staff that knows the Mexican bootleg market pretty well. And, in general, they're not that expensive to collect. They're hard to find in good condition. But you can find decent bootlegs, on eBay, just depending on condition and things like that. But, you can probably pick one up for 25 to 50 bucks. If it's a vintage figure, a vintage bootleg. Obviously there's more modern bootlegs that have been made that are very inexpensive, but in terms of ones that have any real collectability or, quote unquote market value, I've seen them kind of start around 20 bucks and go up from there. The Polish bootlegs are also very popular. There's a number of them that have been graded and sold on eBay that I've seen. They're very, very cool looking. I don't have any of those, unfortunately. For a more detailed discussion on those, you may want to check out a few of the other great channels out there that cover this. And but anyway, I thought I'd show you at least the two bootlegs I have in my collection. Again, I don't have these are the only two graded ones I have, but hopefully we'll have more over time. But let me show you a couple of them. So this one is, let's see if we can get it to focus. 1988 SB Products Uzay Star Wars Imperial Gunner. No weapon. And it came back with an 86.6 or 85 overall. So the Uzay figures did come with weapons originally in the package. And, these packaged are extremely expensive. This Imperial Gunner, for example, I saw, this in the package, still on the card, goes for a lot of money. But given that this one does not have the weapon, obviously AFA wouldn't be willing to grade that, but CAS does grade it. They just mark it on the notes that it does not have the weapon. But that substantially lowers the cost of acquisition for some of these Uzay figures. But don't get me wrong, it's still a very expensive figure, but it's a very nice one, and I'm glad to add it to my collection. The other one I have here is also an Uzay. This is a Chewbacca, and let's take a closer look at the grading for this one. Is a 1988 SB Products Uzay Star Wars Chewbacca, no weapon, 85, 86.8 grade. So, for those of you who have seen some of these Uzays in the past, there's some really cool ones. There's a Blue Stars kind of Hoth Stormtrooper that is like a dark, or maybe not dark, but like it's in between a light and a really dark blue, kind of like a medium blue, like an ocean blue, I guess. And those are really cool. I've seen those. They're very, very rare, though, and very expensive. There's an Imperial Guard that I've seen that has kind of a gold head with no cape around it. And that is another one that is in very high demand. But these are two of the less rare ones that are out there. But two nice examples nonetheless. And you know, the Uzays in general, I would say of the bootleg figures, and please, other collectors who know more than I do about this stuff, please correct me if I'm wrong, but the Uzay figures in general are probably the most expensive or the highest demand. But, you know, they're very difficult to find. There's some Russian-made bootlegs made by Ortet, I believe. They do a lot of the Power of the Force 2 type style figures. You can find those carded fairly easily on eBay. Obviously, the Polish figures that came out in the mid-1990s, most of them using kind of that Biker Scout arm thing going on. You know, almost all the figures use like the Biker Scout arms in place of the other figure molds. But you can see a lot of Boba Fett's and Darth Vader's that have been graded out there from the Polish bootlegs. Those are, you know, of those Polish bootlegs, I would say that the Boba Fett is the most expensive. The graded ones go for, you know, $500 to $800, but some of the lesser expensive Polish bootlegs, like, you know, the Han in Hoth gear, or like the Rebel Soldier, Hoth Rebel Soldier, things like that. You can pick those up for fairly inexpensive, you know, $25 to $50 depending on the auction. But you know, the biggest problem is getting them authenticated and making sure you didn't just buy some piece of junk that you know, has been 3D printed or whatnot. And, you know, AFA, like I said, will only authenticate if they're complete. But CAS will authenticate if they're incomplete and just note it. So, anyway, I'm kind of rambling, but I just thought I'd show you guys a couple of my Uzay bootlegs, and maybe one day we'll get some of my Mexican bootlegs graded and from CAS and see what they had to say about them. So, thanks for watching, and please let me know if you have any questions.